Welcome to Homeowner Talk, your resource for all topics related to homeowners and homeowners associations. My name is John Leach. I'm a partner in the law firm of Leach, Johnson, Song & Gruco, and this is my co-host David Stone, president of Nevada Association Services, a collections agency. As industry professionals, we bring you the only television show in the state of Nevada that focuses solely on the homeowner issues that matter. Each episode, we invite different guests on the show to share with you the latest news, tips, and insights on common interest communities.
And you know, it's our goal to have an ongoing dialogue with our viewers. If you have any questions or comments, we would really like to address it and hear from you. Please visit our website at homeownertalktv.com and send us your questions. As a community show, we rely on community participation.
On this show, we're going to be talking about managing homeowners associations and common interest communities. And we'll also sit down with a mediator. First, let's welcome Bill Sasser, Chairman and CEO for the Management Trust, and Steve Vitali. Steve is the Division President for the Management Trust here in Las Vegas. He's also currently serving on the CAI-Nevada Board of Directors. Bill, Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John. Welcome.
Well, let's get started with, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got the company started and how things are going here in Las Vegas.
Thanks, John. I entered the industry in 1986 after finishing up at the University of Texas, and so that was 25 years ago I've been in this business, and for those keeping score, that's more than half my life. So I've seen a lot of things change over those years. And through that time, I really began to understand that there were some significant challenges in our industry and some changes that were evolving over those years. And so around 2005, I realized that there needed to be a fundamental shift in how the business was operated. And so I approached 5 like-minded company owners up and down the West Coast who shared the same philosophical view of the industry and how to treat our employees and so forth. And so we merged together in December of 2005 and formed the ESOP. And so the Management Trust was born in December of 2005, and today we are the only 100% employee-owned management company in the country.
That's fantastic, very unusual. And the Management Trust is a player in town. They're a significant management company. What kind of separates the Management Trust from some of your competitors out there? What separates you, other than, of course, employee-owned, which is significant?
Well, that is absolutely very significant. A couple of things. I think, number one, if you think about a homeowners association being a corporation that's owned by its members, and the Management Trust being a company that's owned by its employees, there's obviously a lot of similarities there, and so our interests are aligned with theirs. You know, not only do our employees have a financial ownership in the company, but they also have an emotional ownership in the company. So that means that they have an emotional ownership in the relationships that we have with our clients. And so simply put, they care. They care about the success of the relationship that we have with our clients.
I've got to believe that goes a long way to trying to keep your clients happy, because when they have that vested interest, it's no longer someone else's company, it's my company. And if something goes amiss, you really want to solve the problem instead of passing it on to somebody else.
That's correct.
That's great. Steve, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself as well, because I know we've been associated for several years, and I know you've been in the management industry for quite some time. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
I have. I've been in the industry now 20 years, actually, which is, for those keeping track, the same half my life. And I had the opportunity to work for CAI as their executive director, and I've had the opportunity to work for other companies. And in 2006, I joined the Management Trust. And it's really been a spectacular experience for me primarily because of the ESOP. It has empowered me to create our division, grow our division, mostly organically through the years, and provide service, really service above self for our clients.
That's critical. Gentlemen, what do you see as the issues that you're dealing with, trends that are emerging in homeowners associations? Anything you can help our viewers with to understand, what's going on in the industry out there that we might be able to help them with?
Well, I think I can probably speak to a more macro level, seeing all my experience throughout the Western U.S., and Steve can speak to a more pragmatic level, I think. But the two issues I see, you can't separate issues facing the associations with the economy in general. I mean, obviously, the Great Recession that we've been experiencing for the last few years has taken a tremendous toll on all of us and all of our communities. And our community associations are really a microcosm of the larger world, and so we see a couple of things at play. Number one, obviously, as municipalities have less tax revenues to fund community parks and basic services and so forth, these homeowners associations can certainly fill a void and become more attractive, a more attractive option, all things being equal, because they have the services and such that municipalities can no longer provide because because of their declining tax revenues. Number two, when the World Health Organization dubbed this recession a social recession because of the emotional toll it's taken on everybody touched by the recession. They're seeing higher instance of domestic abuse and depression and substance abuse and all those things, and a general decline of social capital. I think that really a properly managed homeowners association can also provide an opportunity for disaffected and disengaged people to find some connection again with their neighbors and within their community.
What a great concept, because it says common interest community, and I've always told people, builders moved houses to the front of the yard, so now you don't live in the front yard, you live in your backyard. The only time you see neighbors, you go to the community post or the mailbox, and you usually try to wait to go and no one's there. Then you don't know your neighbors anymore because you don't live in the front yard. We used to always play in the cul-de-sacs in the front yard. Now we live in our backyards and with our pools and whatnot. And we don't even have that relationship.
We try to tell our clients to redefine their community not by the proximity of the homes in the community, but rather by the shared values of the members within that community.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, I wish that I would like to see more community managers take that approach to sort of bringing in, including the residents of homeowners associations and make it more of a common interest type of community. And I think we would. There are issues that are out there, not as great as some people would like for some to think, but there are issues out there, and perhaps if more effort was concentrated on that point, maybe we wouldn't have the problems.
Steve, earlier this year you wrote an article that was in one of the CAI publications, and it talked a little bit about how homeowners associations are portrayed inaccurately in many instances, and we see that in the media frequently. Maybe you could share your thoughts with our viewers on that, maybe some of the points you made in your article and what we might be able to do to maybe change that portrayal.
I think that what it comes down to, and I'm a big believer of education, and so for us, we empower our staff and our managers to really work with our boards and help determine what their goals are. A lot of times it may be one individual. We hear in the news about these boards that are rogue and out to get everybody, and sometimes it's just a misunderstanding of what each member's intent is and design is for the community. So what we try to do is help to bring them together, help to bring them together to share a common goal and help them to achieve that goal. And we do that through various means, whether it's board training. We have our leadership management curriculum that we offer to our boards. And by defining their goals and their objectives, then we are able to help them communicate with their community and help express the goals and the interests to the community, and then involve the homeowners and buy into what their directions are. And that helps to take away this negative perception of what a homeowners association is really about.
I always tell people that education's power. We require board members to take a certain amount of classes. Managers have to get certification. Lawyers have to get the continuing legal education. Sometimes our homeowners aren't also getting that education. Anything you can do to foster that exchange of information and education, I think, goes a long way to peace.
Yeah, it sure does. Steve, Bill, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we go to break, we're going to hear from Veronika Link-Violand, professional community manager for the Management Trust, and how education helps her in her role. We'll be right back.
My background, I actually have a bachelor's degree in real estate, and I worked for a builder for the last almost 6 years as a sales agent. I did new and resale homes, and they closed their division down, and then I decided to look at other avenues in the real estate field. So I landed here in community management. What I like about being a community manager is that I get to be around different boards, kind of like having little different families all around. You become part of the community, it seems like, the more that you get to be with them. The best part of the Management Trust is that it's an ESOP program, meaning it is employee owned. You are part of the company, you own part of it. The longer that you're with them, you have more opportunities. We do offer education for our boards. We do board trainings. We just had one a couple months ago, as well as for the community managers. They pay for education for you to continue and go get some of your credentials. So there's always room to grow.
So you're looking for help with your mortgage. Worried about foreclosure?
We can help you keep your house. All we ask for in return is that you submit to our plans for galactic domination.
Sign.
If you're facing foreclosure, talk to the right people. Speak with HUD-approved housing counselors free of charge at 888-995-HOPE.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans. These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. But so is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Welcome back to Homeowner Talk. During our program, we like to interact directly with Homeowner Association board members as often as we can. This time we spoke to Richard Kirkland, president of the Aurora Canyon Homeowners Association, about his role as a board member.
Okay, I like living in an HOA because the community is managed. It's controlled by a group of rules, the CCNRs. And in the past, when we lived in other places, the neighbors aren't controlled. So the houses get painted weird colors. The landscaping is either not done at all or it's done really strange. And we have no control to go in and ask the neighbor to do something other than, get off my property. So it's a lot nicer here. Well, first of all, I moved from Southern California. My wife and I moved up here in 1978. So we've been here over 30 years. I taught for the Clark County School District for the last 25. We just retired 2 years ago. Moved in here in 2004. The key issues with the association that I found during my tenure on the board are things where if we did have a complaint, it was resolved through the management trust, and we didn't have to worry about filing any forms or anything. And then we have people on the other end who file a complaint with the ombudsman's office. The ombudsman's office sends the material to the management trust, and again, we the board, individual board member, don't really have to get involved, and it's all handled by them. It's really nice. Well, if you can get on the board, normally it's a 3 or 5 person board. Otherwise, I recommend that people attend the board meetings. We've had our last several board meetings here. No one attends. So the board sits and we make decisions and it's done. And then later, perhaps, we get a neighbor who complains and the answer has to be, come to a board meeting. And some people do and some people don't. I would recommend you either get on the board or at least show up at the board meetings and have your voice heard. Well, there are rules, but then there are interpretations of the rules. And the interpretations can be at the discretion of the board member, which means that the rule may say one thing and the board may interpret it another way, and you don't like what they think, or you don't like what they do because of their interpretation. And that's why I'd say you need to be on the board or you need to be at least at the meetings. Working with a community manager means that I don't have to personally go knock on a door and say, would you mind taking your trash can in, or would you mind not parking in a no parking zone? The manager does that. Also, we've got landscaping people, we've got pool cleaning people, we've got street cleaning people. It's a lot nicer not to have to deal with those individuals. The management company does that for us. I see living in an HOA is an enjoyable experience, that there are no concerns about your neighbors, there are no concerns about, in this association, about the landscaping, about the appearance of the neighbor's house or your house, because it's all handled within the association dues. It's paid for. We just recently had our houses painted. And everyone's house was painted exactly the way it was last time, and everyone loves it. So it's really enjoyable rather than to have your own separate people doing separate things. The only misconception I can see is people don't want to be involved. They don't want to show up at the meetings, but they sit in the background and complain. And again, if you would go to the meetings and put your voice out there, and it doesn't take very many people, all of a sudden the board has to make a different choice. Well, board members are just people who live in the neighborhood. And a lot of times the people who are in the neighborhood don't understand things like NRS 116 or NAC 116. Is there a difference? Why is that? And then what is the result of having a decision made by the board that violates NRS 116? That's where our management people come in. And when we have a board meeting, they're there to observe and to advise. And to say that we just made a decision that we want to do this, and the management trust says, no, you can't do that because of this. And then there's also training sessions that the board members can attend, and to become more aware of what's going on in the community and what the law is. Well, of course, the first problem is when a board is new, is that they don't really understand how to conduct a meeting. So that's where the management trust comes in. They assist, advise, and help us in that type of a thing. Second is when we want to make a decision about an incident or about something that's going on in the community, the board gets together, has a discussion, and then the management people, the management trust, our community manager will step in and say, okay, you can do this, but you can't do that. So, it's up to you how you want to handle it, and they're basically our advisor in the background. And they sit at the board meetings, like I said, and they help us get through it. They also have classes that the board members can attend and to learn more about meetings and about NRS 116 and all that goes with the community.
Richard shared some great information. Thank you, Richard. Now we'd like to welcome Malcolm White. Malcolm is a mediation specialist for Clark County. Malcolm, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tell our viewers a little bit about your background and how you got involved as a mediation specialist.
Well, I've been in Las Vegas for about 24 years now, and I've been working with the Clark County Neighborhood Justice Center for 11 of those years. And during that period of time, I've had an opportunity to receive some excellent training from EEOC, from the Redress Postal Mediation Program, as well as the Air Force. And within being a mediator for Clark County Neighborhood Justice Center, we have to go through a credentialing program where we receive a great training, some mentoring, and we get to become mentors and also do a lot of training ourselves. Primarily, we are the training office that trains community mediators throughout Clark County.
Mediation is a powerful thing. I think a lot of our viewers may not understand the difference between mediation and arbitration. The fact that mediation allows you to actually solve your own problems. You're with a trained person who understands what's going on and works with you so you reach your own conclusions instead of an arbitrator or a judge who gets to tell you what the outcome is. So mediation is a very powerful alternate dispute resolution program.
Right, and as a senior mediation specialist, our role is to sit and work with individuals that have conflicts in the community surrounding homeowners associations, surrounding neighbor-to-neighbor, surrounding animal control. And also, we're also in all the small claims courts in Clark County, Henderson, North Las Vegas, Boulder City, and Laughlin, Mesquite outlying areas.
You had mentioned some of the areas of dispute. What would you say are the most common areas of dispute? And what is it? Give us kind of a rundown of what how the resolution comes about.
Well, typically the community mediations or community disputes surround neighbor-to-neighbor issues. When you have, for instance, a barking dog or a parking encroachment, or you have a tree situation, or even something as simple as sprinklers that are watering a concrete wall, and you can see the seepage come through the other side. Those type of things that over a long period of time that may become an issue of rebuilding the wall oftentimes come through us through either code enforcement, animal control, or either Metro being called out and giving a referral to our agency. Once the referral has been made or the agency has referred it to us, the individual is contacted or contacts us at the Neighborhood Justice Center, talks about their dispute in depth to a caseworker, an assigned caseworker, and they will tell us in proximity if it's a neighbor, if they have the phone number or an address to the other party, then we will contact that other party and talk to them about the opportunities of mediation, how it's confidential, how it's free, and how it's a quick way to resolve their issue. And then we try to schedule. One of the tougher things is scheduling, getting both parties in at the same time with a volunteer mediator to talk about their dispute. But we do that from Monday through Saturdays and into the evenings oftentimes, non-traditional hours.
Quick and free. If that doesn't sell you on the program, I don't know what will. But are there any impediments or hurdles that you experience to getting that? You're making that phone call to the other person to try to get them to be willing to participate. Any reluctance? They don't.
Well, at the Neighborhood Justice Center, our case managers are very versed in helping people understand the dynamics of their conflict and helping them feel comfortable in discussing it with a neutral, which is a mediator, a neutral third party, recognizing that they need to understand what it is they'd like to achieve out of the mediation. Oftentimes people are hesitant to talk about what they want, and they're most apt with talking about what they don't want or how it bothers them. and the case manager oftentimes help them shift into resolution mode. And that's a skill that most individuals have to learn.
Do you usually have, are both sides usually very amenable to meeting, or are you usually going to get resistance from one side? Usually, one side obviously has to come to you. Do you usually get acceptance from the other side, or are they often resistant? I don't want to get involved in
well,
we're not interested. How do you get past that hurdle?
One of the skills that our mediators and also our case managers are very versed in is helping to empower the individual. Once an individual feels like they're empowered for their position to help them gain whatever outcome they would like to, they tend to recognize that it's going to be a level playing field. You're correct. Most times people are hesitant. They don't want to come into a situation where they've never experienced the opportunity to speak for themselves. Most people want an enforcement agency to tell the person that they're having a conflict with to stop it. Just go ahead and stop it. And it's a long-term solution to say, this is what I would like to have happen in the future, as opposed to just stopping it. You want to give the solutions.
So in addition to maybe a homeowner calling you, if two homeowners, or if someone has initiated a justice court complaint, small claims or something against someone, then your mediation program is also available to them right in the court. Isn't that right? As an option, because some people may not know that and they've already started the lawsuit. You're a viable option to that.
Yes. The Neighborhood Justice Center was created specifically to lower the cost of litigation in the court system. So when people go in and file for their small claims, $10 of that comes to our agency, seven of which stays with the Neighborhood Justice Center, 3 of which goes to the self-help center located in the RJC, the first floor of the Regional Justice Center. And what we do is we help individuals recognize that they can resolve their conflicts at the lowest level, which is the communication phase. And when we work with the HOAs or the common interest communities, we try to help educate them and having them recognize that if you, one, utilize the free service that's already being paid for by people who want their pound of flesh, or their pound of justice, that individuals will actually come away learning a way to deal with conflicts through communication.
And your funding is totally through small claims court, $10 per case, you said?
No, $10 of the filing fees. 7 of that comes. 7 of it stays with us, and another 3 goes to the self-help center.
I think it's a great service, and I think one of the problems that we have is we kind of lose sight of talking to people. We become very reluctant to talk to our next door neighbor, and I think that should probably always be the first step, and then I think there's a viable option after if that doesn't get you where you need to be.
I think the times have changed because my neighbors had no problem talking to my dad about me, and then my dad talked to me. So I'm telling you, things have changed.
Yeah.
But
That's right.
Any misconceptions that you see in the public as you get complaints from homeowners about maybe how homeowners associations function? Anything that you see that's problematic there?
Well, I think the education, I think Ms. Berry, one of my associates and partners in the community, mentioned that educating a board is one of the ways that is very beneficial for her to operate with boards as a management company. And educating, one of the hurdles that I see is the education of individuals that the Neighborhood Justice Center is out there, that there is a way that they can be empowered and have a balanced format or a balanced form for conflicts to be discussed in a safe, controlled environment.
Well, do you have a phone number or a website or anything you might extend to our viewers so that they can get more information and also maybe contact you about future issues that they have?
Yeah, one of the things that we do is if you call 455-3898, we'll talk to you. We'll have a caseworker respond to you and your conflict specifically. But if you need to, we'll have these brochures sent out to your homeowners associations so that they're available. We will come out and also speak to the homeowners associations or the management companies on how to become more adept at referring agencies to this free Neighborhood Justice Center.
Well, Malcolm, I can't thank you enough for joining us on this program. This isn't the first time I've had the pleasure of being educated by you, and I just hope that others will take advantage of this. Will you give them your phone number one more time?
It's 455-3898, and one of our slogans is, "We're looking for trouble."
I love it. Thanks again for joining us. We'll have the resources you mentioned available on our website, and let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
When you earn your GED diploma, the barriers in your life fall. Take the first step and get free GED information in your area at 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or yourged.org. Earn your GED diploma and begin your brighter future.
Welcome back. It's time now to answer questions submitted by a viewer through Homeowner Talk TV. Sonia asks, is the HOA required to carry insurance for the board against legal issues so that there will not be an assessment to the members of the HOA if there is a legal problem against the board? It's an excellent question. John, do you want to attack that one?
We'll try. Sonia, that is an excellent question, and it's important to an association. Nevada law requires that the association indemnify, defend, and hold harmless the officers and directors of an association. The association should have directors and officers insurance to cover it in the event that they are named in a lawsuit. What's interesting is NRS 116 does not mandate that they have directors and officers insurance. But if you're on a board and they don't, just resign. Because if you don't have the coverage, you don't want to put yourself on the chopping block.
Sure.
But again, the association should have insurance, D&O insurance. So if the association is named in a lawsuit, you can then tender the defense of the case to your insurance company. But it's critical that you do. And David, we've seen some associations that have failed to tender in a reasonable period of time, and therefore they're in breach of their insurance agreement, and the insurance companies then said, we don't have a duty to insure you or defend you. So it's critical that you have the insurance in place, that you know what it means, and that anytime you're named in a lawsuit, even in arbitration or in these arbitration cases, the real estate division claims, tender the defense of the claim to the insurance company. They then have the authority to appoint someone to represent you, and then they should cover it. You will have to pay the deductible. The association will have to pay the deductible. Otherwise, the insurance company, as long as it's a covered claim, would take care of it. And by doing that, it should help stabilize the assessments and prevent the association from having to impose a special assessment to raise the funds to pay for the legal fees that may be generated. So,
and then the next natural question is, if there are dollar amounts or limits on your deductibles and so forth, that's really where you would want to talk to your insurance expert and your attorney to get some information on that.
Yeah, make sure you're adequately insured, because if the judgment is greater than the amount of the insurance, then it becomes a judgment against all the homeowners. I've never seen that. I'm sure it has happened sometime, someplace, somewhere. I haven't seen it happen, but it's a possibility, and the law does say that if the judgment's greater than that and there's a claim against the association, each of the owners would have a pro rata share of that surplus obligation.
Excellent. Okay.
Great. Anyway, Sonia, thanks so very much for that great question. If any of our other viewers have a topic and you'd like to weigh in on it, please send it through our website, homeownertalktv.com.
We would like to thank our guests today, Malcolm White, Mediation Specialist for Clark County, Bill Sasser and Veronika Link-Violand of the Management Trust, Steve Vitali, also the Management Trust, who is also a CAI-Nevada Board Member, and also Richard Kirkland of Aurora Canyon HOA. Thanks for watching this edition of Homeowner Talk. We'd also like to thank all of our partners on the show, the Management Trust, Alliance Association Financial Services, Classic Landscapes, Western Risk Insurance, and Nevada Association Services. To learn more about our program or to get the answers to your important questions, please visit us at homeownertalktv.com. We'll see you next time.